Good morning, good morning, good afternoon. We are going to get started because I know this is our last session for this particular workshop. I cannot believe it. Cannot believe it. Calmness? Really? Really? We're doing corrections so we can what? Connect. Okay. So just this whole overall workshop and what it's about. I hope that you guys were able to at least see the calmness, where it come from, how to maintain it, right? You're talking about the correction. We're talking about pinpointing where the emotional healing needs to take place. And having also, once we recognize where that healing is, like, who am I now when I know that I am not my struggles, my trauma, my past? Like, who am I? It's the rediscovering of you. That is what we do every day through reflection, right? And now we're talking about connection, right? Staying connected daily through your habits, making sure that you're enforcing your boundaries, things that we talked about during this course, and also allowing ourselves to be in a space of knowing who we are to ourselves. And today's workshop, which is called Transforming the Inner Dialogue, meaning that we are finding ways to combat negative self talk. A lot of us may not know where that negative self speaking tone of voice that we have developed inside our minds has come from. Where has this point of entry of communicating with ourselves come from? Who in their right mind spoke to me in this way? And I felt that this is the proper way to speak to myself. Why am I so hard on myself? Why do I betray myself? Why am I always moving the goalposts on myself? Why do I feel like everybody else can have unlimited access to my energy, but I don't have any energy left for me? Right? All these different ways of us not being able to take care of ourselves, it started somewhere. It came from somewhere. We emulated, imitated, started copying these particular behaviors from those closest to us. And it isn't until we are in self reflection and sitting down and allowing our minds to finally have a moment, not emotional overpouring from our heart. We've been doing that our whole lives, but logically bringing in our mindset, our subconscious and our conscious mind to finally say, right now in this moment, while chaos is happening, because that's probably the only time that we actually get a moment to say, now, why is this happening? Right? Why am I allowing this, or why does this keep happening? And then we all do this. I don't know how y'all call your higher power, God, the most high, the one and only, whatever it is. And you say, can you show me? Can you show me? You don't have to be, you don't have to be knowledgeable in that prayer. That's just a given, knowing, remembrance type of admission from self to outside yourself when the pressure inside of you is just way too much because that negative self talk is just extremely too much to bear. It has finally become too much to bear. And now you are in a place now where life is asking you to go within and pay attention to what's happening from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, because it needs you to connect back to yourself, because there's things happening within yourself that's going to allow you to check out of this place real early, mentally, emotionally, physically. Shoot, for some of us, we see them every day spiritually. And it's hard to connect back to people that are so disassociated, so disconnected from themselves because of the negative type of talking that we've been given, and now what we do to ourselves from within. It's a lose-lose situation. And so today I wanted us, before we end this workshop, remember what it feels like when we hear how we speak to ourselves every day. Because it's not those people that helped create that voice in our head or how we treat ourselves. They're not always with us anymore. Some transition. Some no longer have contact with us, or some have very low contact, or we learned how to adapt and cope around society and those closest to us. But even when they're not around and we're alone with ourselves only, we can still hear their way of thinking and speaking to us because we've adapted that love language as our love language. A lot of the times, the way we talk to ourselves from a negative standpoint, we have adapted and acquired from others that guided us, that spoke ill into us, projected their insecurities onto us. And for some, let's keep it 100. Some people are just plain old mean and miserable. And the minute they see a type of light and joy in you, they snatch it and put it right into darkness with what they got. And we allow them because we are so trusting and so unconditionally loving towards others and not ourselves. And we figure that if we keep pouring into people and speaking life and love into them, that they will be able to reciprocate that back to us. And a lot of the times, like I said, it's a lose-lose situation because that door never swings back in your direction to be poured into. You're always left with nobody's not there to speak a word into you. You're always left with this feeling of being unappreciated and people just not being grateful for the energy and the time and consideration that you put forward, right? Whether they're children, and they turn into grown adult children, right? We have parents, elders showing us that their intellect is not as grown as we think it is. And now we have to navigate a new world with our adult selves and the adults that we were given on the journey and finding out that we might be a lot more mature in our mindset than those that were given to us. And that is a reality check that a lot of us just aren't able to accept when we have grown into accepting the ways of thinking of others and how they speak to us with a tone of, you don't know nothing. You are just getting started. I got more authority than you. But to be honest, no one has authority over us other than the Most High in ourselves. And until we take back the responsibility of that authority within ourselves, then that is when we can change the way we speak to ourselves, which also, when we internalize that good new word of love languages that we've developed, we can now speak that love language to others outside of ourselves with boundaries and understanding and wisdom that we've learned along the way through self-reflection. And so today, we're going to do some journal prompts where I'm going to push you guys a little bit to talk to yourself a little bit more. I want you to talk to your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and I want you to bring everybody here in the present. This is us having a moment of one-on-one opportunities to finally figure out why we speak a certain way. And I also want you guys to start thinking about when you start asking yourself to think about how you speak to yourself, be ready for the shift that's going to happen after you get out of this class. Because if you're changing the way you're speaking to yourself, the minute somebody's tone changes, the minute somebody's words is different from how you talk to yourself and motivate yourself, you're going to start telling people, that's not how I speak to myself. So I'm going to need you to watch your tone, maintain low tone. Am I right? So I want you guys to be in a space and understanding that, look, everything that you're learning here is not for you to be, I'm going to just say it, a bitch, to become an abuser, to feel like you got the gun now because you the rabbit, you got the gun now you just want to shoot up. No. I'm going to need y'all to fall into line and say, look, what has happened to me, I do not want to keep that going. But I want to continue a new way of doing things. And so that puts you in a whole new conscious bracket emotionally, spiritually, right? Verbally, now what we're talking about, everything around you is going to start to change. And the people that you came up with that kept that love language of disconnect will no longer sound like a language that you want to continue speaking. And that is okay, right? Your boundaries will make sure you understand that you're in a protective mode for yourself and you understand that two things can exist. If you do decide to keep relationships that have not learned or grown up yet to be in the frequency that you are in, they can have little access to what you do allow them that you can tolerate and you are okay with because you have the proper daily routines to catch you to reserve and implement growing your energy every day. We're no longer going into a depletion of energy because of our disassociation because of what we decide to keep going in the name of love for relationships and community. I want you guys to remember what I'm saying. The way you treat yourself and the way others treat you says a lot about how you feel about yourself. And learning how to navigate this world where there are a lot of people disconnected or disassociated is going to be on you to maintain and to take care of and to heal from and to protect. Okay? So I just want y'all to lock in with that on how important it is to protect your peace and protect the way that you speak to yourself. So, good morning, good afternoon. Let's get started. Week 6, transforming the inner dialogue. Our goal in this particular workshop is to help identify and transform negative self talk and self sabotage, right? Replacing it with a positive, empowering mindset. Mindset. I will never stop talking about how your mind, your subconscious, your conscious present mind, how they work together and they clock every single thing. Even when you're not paying attention, your mind is scanning everything around you 360. What's being said, what's being heard, what's not being said, what did not happen, what did happen. And so, depending on these triggers that it is picking up on, what you pick up on will either alert it to shut down or to be open to it based on your understanding of what threats are, triggers are, what's a good thing and what's not a good thing. Your mind is taking in everything. Okay. Before we get started on the first affirmation to guide this particular workshop today, let's reflect a little bit of the homework that we had from cultivating calmness from week 5 last Sunday. And I want you guys to think about how the practices that I wanted you guys to try out, how it is starting to shape who you are right now. Whether you went for walks or you were creative with your mindfulness, again, remember your gentle movements, moving your body a certain way to slow it down, not to be jerking or reacting too fast, right? Because we want to regulate the nervous system. Mindful ritual, preparing a meal. Did you make yourself a cup of tea? Think about sound immersion, listening to calmness instead of music. I know music is popping right now. We got a lot of catchy things going on. Everybody got their boots on the ground, but your nervous system may need you to have your butt to the ground and just in stillness. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to practice being mindful on how to cultivate what it is that we need to be able to build our energy up every day. And so I wanted you guys to just reflect a little bit, just real quick, even if you only did one or half of something, to know that is progress, but to remember to keep doing these physical and mindful activities to help build your capacity for wanting to be more in calmness. Because at one point, as you guys continue to release and continue to heal, there's no way you can go back to the nervous system that you once had. Anything that tries to penetrate that new nervous system that you are building will be hit immediately with intensity of sensitivity, because now you know this is not something you want. You know what kind of an energy disrupts your peace, and now you have to face you and make the decision that's going to protect you. Our affirmation for this particular workshop today is about I release negative self-talk, right? And replace it with affirmations that empower and uplift me. Okay? I release that negative self-talk and I'm replacing it with affirmations that empower and uplift me. You have to change the way you think and speak to yourself. You have to take yourself out of that victim mentality. You are not a victim anymore. You are a warrior queen. That means that you know what it takes to protect you. The mindset flip is that I am not that poor kid. I'm not that poor girl. I'm not that poor lady. I'm not that poor baby mama. I'm not that poor wife. I'm not any of those things. I am greatness. And so when I speak these words of greatness, I move with this greatness in reality now. I'm moving that energy out of my mind and how I show up in real time, in real life with people around me. I am her. I'm that. I'm all of that. But I'm all of that with a knowing of who I am. So I said truth for the jewels. Negative self-talk is often the echoes of someone else's pain projected onto you. Listen to that. Negative self-talk is often the echo of someone else's pain projected onto you. And I want you to start thinking. I want you to breathe, take a deep breath. And I want you to understand something. This is not an attack. This is not to put you back in that same place where you first encountered negative self-talk, because I already know where it started from. I already know. For a lot of us, it was sit your ass down. Didn't I tell you to shut up? Didn't I tell you to mind your business? Get out of my business if I slap you. All these self ways that others spoke to us, the way that they verbalized communication with us, created the way we speak to ourselves. It ain't always got to have a cussing in it. And it ain't always got to be abrupt, like what I just said. But it is a segue point to start giving you the dialogue that you repeat in your head when it's time for you to make moves, especially moves when you're expressing yourself. Because when you are talking and you hear shut up, that's expressing yourself being told that you can't speak. When you're told to sit down, that means I don't want to hear what you have to say through your mouth. I need you to sit down. I don't care if this is happening to you or this happened to you. You better not even say a word to anybody and embarrass me with your foolishness. All these expressive ways of how we communicate and how we speak to ourselves were given to us from the closest people to us. Maybe they was dysregulated. Maybe they never wanted to be parents. These are reality checks that we all have to take in accountability. It's not something for you to take personal, but for you to allow yourself to accept that the way somebody shows up, how they speak and how they feel had nothing to do with you. But the way they took care of you, they gave it to you as if it was your responsibility. And a lot of the baggage we carry in self-talk that's negative is from others that did not get the proper care too with positive talk. They too were talking and giving the same information, and they just thought this is the way it is. That it is what it is. Ain't always got to be accepted. And it is your power to be present and to be aware to say, I'm not moving with this type of self-talk. Not from me, not to me. Okay? So healing means recognizing that the voice of shame was learned and that you have the power to replace it with what? The energy of love, compassion, and truth. People don't understand this, but truth and love is such a beautiful companionship. Where there's truth, there's love. Where there's love, there's truth. And compassion is the given point of that truth and that love. You need all three on this journey. Now, remember I said shame, guilt, and fear. Now you got love, compassion, and truth. And love itself is such a beautiful energy. It encompasses all of those other emotional standpoints. Because love understands when somebody is in pain. But love also understands when somebody is experiencing joy. Love is truth. Okay? And the truth is, you love yourself. You love yourself so much, this is why you're here. You love yourself so much, this is why you keep being in relationships with people that didn't know how to love you. Your heart is just so big. But now it's time to tell your heart, let the mind take over for a little bit. Let my subconscious, let my conscious mind step in for a little bit. Because there's some work that I need to do to help my heart to be able to balance the information that I'm pulling into myself. And I need to know what I need to keep, and I need to know what to let go. And your heart won't know how to do that because it just knows one thing. Give and love. Give and love. And your mind is like, hold on now, but what we loving? What are we getting back when we give? And even though we're not saying expectation is supposed to be at the forefront, because it's not, but there is a level of certainty of risk. What is the word I want to say? Receiving back something for exchange of something you've given. And what does that look like? Where others can't meet you, how do you meet you? What others can't give, what can you give? What others can't say, what can you say? The goal is to get you back into position of being your protector, your overseer, your understanding partner, your logical partner, and allowing yourselves to be in control of your lives and stop ousting everything for you to someone else to do it. Because to be honest, and I want y'all to be honest, you've been begging people, you've been screaming, you've been yelling, you've been suppressing, you've been passive, and you probably, some of y'all probably got mouthy, got loud, start threatening people. Well, I'm gonna just do me and I'm gonna just do that. Look at the little inner child come out of you, right? I don't need nobody. I could do bad by myself. Can I go on? But the real thing is this, is that you really just want to be able to be all those things for yourself by yourself. When you are dependent on your energy to do and take care of you the way you want to, you ain't got to critique or be ungrateful for how somebody else show up. Because when you know what it takes to love you and you see what they are offering you, the mere thought that they fought through their own mind, their own day-to-day struggles or excitements of the day to think of you, the compassion and the consideration comes back. That's gratefulness. Man, you ain't got to do this. You could be off with your money. You could be off doing anything. You could be off doing whatever it is you want to do. But you thought about me and you thought enough to sit down with me and teach me or share space with me or have a meal with me or just send a card or just call to say how you doing or just, hey, I saw something and I thought of you. Now there's gratefulness because when you're taking care of every single thing for you, you ain't expecting nobody else to do it because you got you. It's not saying that nobody else can see you. It's that I see me. And I understand that you here on a journey too. And we share space in each other's journeys. And you ain't trying to take more from me. And I ain't trying to take more from you because I'm selfish. We understand each other. And now you can build community with that mindset. We can share resources. We can think about those that's not getting ready to have a meal during one of the biggest holiday seasons of the year. We could think about how easy for someone to say, well, they doing something, they doing that, and we can't do nothing about it. Where does your heart and your mind work together and say, well, yeah, I don't have a lot, but I know what's happening don't sound right. What can I do to be compassionate because I have enough and I'm not expecting anybody to return? All these things play a role. I got Sandy here. Yes, Miss Sandy.
It's something that you said that I just experienced that like I don't expect expectations, but when you go out your way for other people, you kind of sort of want them to be there with you. Like we just buried one of my older brothers last weekend, and none of my so-called friends, my sister friends, whoever was there. And I was quite shocked at that. It hurt, but I can't even say that it's okay because it's not, because it still hurts. And I'm like, wow. So now I know where I stand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Evidently, it wasn't too much for you. And it wasn't like it was far. It was, in the city, convenience to everybody. So, yeah, that hurt deeply, especially when you put yourself out there and you do it from your heart. I do it from my heart. When I do things for people, it's from my heart. I don't throw it in your face or whatever have you, because that's not my style. It never has been. But when someone who I expect to be there for me and you don't show up at one of my vulnerable times, yeah, that cut deeply. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I have a few questions because we can all learn from this actual real life admission from you, and thank you for sharing. And again, my condolences to you and your family over your brother transitioning. You said a couple things. I took notes. You said, I go out of my way. I want you to start thinking about why you going out of your way for others, for one. And maybe for a lot of you, just that's a question too you might have to ask yourself when you're thinking about the negative self-talk too. Like, why do I allow this? But I want you to start asking yourself when moments happen, when you say, I go out of my way for you. Like, and I'm expecting, because that's the second part. Expectation. Our expectation is something we need to define. I want y'all to define expectation. And I want you to define it in a way where you put it back on yourself on why you expect so much from people, but so little from yourself towards yourself. Mhm. It's time for us to start having accountability now. Now y'all ready for now y'all talking. Now let's have this real sister to sister, big girl, big woman. Everybody want to say they a woman. Okay. Everybody can smoke, drink. They can go out there and be sexual. You could grab your money. You can. I'm a woman. I can do whatever I want to do. Okay. Now let's have some conversations. Now, how long are we willing to say that we're doing everything we can to keep people together, but we are falling apart? And we have the ability to expect the same people that got similar situations going on that we do and think that they can fill up the cup. Most of the time we're surrounded by people that are reflective of exactly who we are. And if they can't hold space for us, guess who ain't holding space for us too? That's why everybody avoid the mirror. Because if I don't have to look at myself and know that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do for myself, the expectation is put on everybody else. I'm running around and building tribes and gangs, and we all sitting down like we family, but it don't feel like family because there's things that have to be addressed. And one of it is, why is it when I put out, I'm expecting something back, but also when I'm not getting that expectation back, I'm still pouring. I'm still pouring. Here's another part of that connection. Why are you still pouring? Why are you still pouring into people and accepting people, giving people all the graces, all the compassion, and keep telling you they don't have the capacity for what you are expecting of them? Because you are savior complex too. You like your ego. I do. I show up. I am always. I be there. I do this. I have this. It's a lot of eyes going on every time you talk to people about what they can do, but what you do. It's your ego too. And as women, our egos, if it is not checked, then we walk around, well, I'm a woman. Yeah, you a woman, but you're crying for a man to love you. You can't do that yourself. I'm a mother. And I took care of you. You should do X, Y, and Z because I. They say that things get real when somebody go home, and it does, because money, right? Control, old wounds, scars that looked and glanced over but never was actually looked into. The dynamics of the family, of feeling left out and who was taking care of, all these things start showing up during funerals. People show up, they don't show up because maybe they really just don't fool with people. But you believe because you showed up with people in these places and these things and y'all built history that people gonna act a certain way when things get real. Man, that is the biggest place that people really show you who they are. And because we don't want to feel, right? We ignore the signals and the signs and calling it what it is. And that's why I said the heart sometimes is overworked and it start doing things it's not supposed to. But your mind now been waiting for you to ask the questions. But every time you suppress it, that subconscious mind, all it does is record what brings you fear. And it just protects you and puts those thoughts and those things away. And you never think about them again until you're triggered again. And then the conscious mind got to carry the load with the capacity it has and try to figure out how to keep the heart from overwhelming itself and blurring the lines of coming back into the mindset and distorting and blurring and losing memory of what's happening because you're not ready to face you yet. We think we're facing the friend that didn't show up. We think we're facing the community that we didn't have. We think we're facing the lack of education we didn't have. We're just not facing who we truly are and what we truly desire and what we really want, because we based our expectation of what love is based on how others give it to us. And until we are happy with just what we are able to do and give and letting everything else be the overflow from that cup that we have now filled up, then the relationships that really do appreciate our efforts will show up, and not only will their cups be filled now because they see you filling your own cup and it inspires them to fill their own cup. Now what the overflow is, that's community for those that are at least starting to try to figure out how to fill up their cup. And the overflow that we have, that's what's going to help push them to get to the point where they can actually fill their own cups. And what happens when we have a community that's overpouring in their cups and the overflow is falling on the floor and everybody's taking just what they need? Now we have a community that is built on everybody expecting nothing because we overstand. We know what survival looks like now because we found a way how to stop surviving. We understand what true love feels like because I love myself every day. I give you grace. Everybody want grace, but don't know how to give grace or understand what grace is. People are struggling. People are pretending. And people say and do the meanest things because they can't allow that fear which was once given to them in a vulnerable situation to ever be hurt again. So I'm going to build this fortress of a wall and I'm going to hit everybody with the meanness so I can protect this little child within me. When people say don't take things personal from other people, from family, kids, and everybody, that's what they mean. But also, don't take it personal and don't take no shit. The Most High did not put us down here to be everybody's protector, confidant, chauffeur, doctor. I do this. I do that. I am. You will run yourself rag because you're everything to everybody to prove something. Do you understand how much as women we take on and then we expect everybody else to do the same and do what we do for them and give it back to us? The burnout, the mental, Olympic trials we're having in our head with those type of thoughts. All the relationships that we have are dependent on this thought process. You are asking yourself to burn your circuit breaker at a higher rate than anything. And we're seeing that through stroke, through new autoimmune diseases. We are seeing all kinds of catastrophes happen physically to us due to our mind expecting others to finally think about us because we don't know or haven't been taught to. And just keep it real, some of us don't want to. We want it the way we see it, the way we heard it should be given, and we will take nothing less. And we will die, and we have, on that hill expecting that type of service. So, Miss S, I want to thank you for that segue because that's negative entry point for self-talking right there. Because the expectation of thinking that somebody or they should, people tell us who they are every day, but we dress that up with our minds and our hearts every day because we're not ready to face the truth. The truth is always there in how people show up and talk, but we try to dress it up so we can take it in a certain way. And so our first journal prompt for today, and I want y'all to take this into consideration, right? Is I want you guys to reflect on a recent moment, and Miss S, you have it, when you engaged in a negative self-talk. How did it make you feel? I want you to think about when and how you first learned to talk negatively to yourself. Was there a specific situation or a person who influenced this way of thinking? What made you believe it was okay to talk to yourself this way? And how can you begin to shift that narrative moving forward? You guys are in a new place. Y'all can have a little bit more questions that are a little bit more detailed towards you now. We done dealt with everybody else, what everybody else did, what everybody else done did, and what everybody else done put me through. Now let's start talking about you and your expectations for yourself. And why, when you speak to yourself, the judgment and the way you talk to yourself comes out the way it does. So I want you to reflect on those moments. But before y'all do, y'all know I got something for you. I got a list. I got a beautiful list that I put together for you guys regarding what this looks like, where it come from, and how it can be shown up in so many different relationships in your life, where it can continue to self-compound on itself and seem like this is just how society is when it's not. So, before we start answering these questions in this one journal prompt, let's take a look. Where negative self-talk begins. I need y'all to screenshot this for me. Oh, I need y'all to screenshot this. Okay? Because even though this stuff is heavy, life is still lifing. And we can smile as we learn. So, where negative self-talk begins. Family criticism and comparison. Childhood teasing and bullying. Emotional neglect or dismissal. We have cultural and social conditioning, romantic or friendship trauma, workplace or academic criticism, right? We have religious or institutional shame, and we have internalized experiences of failure. Man, screenshot this. These very same questions that I have on the previous slide, I want you guys to take this list and baby, touch every one of them that you can relate to, so that you can get to know yourself and your trigger points, so that you can start making the proper and right conscious decision of reversing your expectations of what you think X, Y, and Z should look like when you do ABC. And say ABC all the way to X, Y, and Z is my responsibility. And no matter how you show up in this, I'm still got A through Z now. And I got it thoroughly because I speak a certain way to myself. I treat myself a certain way, and I love myself. And so no matter what you do, it's not expected of you. This is why we can always throw back or take what somebody gives us. Because when we know thyself, when somebody says something that isn't true, it does not move us and we don't take it personal. And when they don't show up, we don't take it personal because we overstand and we take care of our business. Right? So go ahead and screenshot this. And now we're going to go back. And now we're going to answer the journal prompt because now you have more than enough different examples to show you where you need to work on your mindset, on how you speak to yourself. All these different places, which were 8 categories of different ways that the negative self-talk can occur, have shaped our lives, shaped us as women, shaped us in our relationships that we share, shape us in how we have a relationship with ourselves. And so when we reflect on a recent moment daily of where we engage in some type of talking to ourselves, it can either uplift us, encourage us, or change us for the better. We do not want the negative self-talk approach of dissecting it to put us back even more in the negative or in the red. We want to be able to take accountability for how and why this type of self-talk took place, right? Asking yourself, how did it make you feel? As you acknowledging your feelings, that it made you feel bad, it made you feel good, it made you feel like you wanted to do something. Address those feelings. We're not suppressing those things anymore, because we know that suppressing our feelings create all kinds of dysfunction within the body, not just the mind. We also think about when and how you first learned to talk negatively to yourself. Like I said, we all heard the shut up and sit down and I know you ain't talking to me, or the stare, which is verbal in itself. If you ask me, the stare is loud, right? So, was there a specific situation or a person who influenced this way of thinking? Like in that specific situation, too. I know I'm doing a lot of talking today, but I really need y'all to understand what negative self talk looks like. But I want y'all to start thinking about, too, how the way somebody speaks to you or has spoken to you, how that training, that verbal training, creates influence on how you move on your journey now. Because if all you heard was you ain't pretty, you ugly. If you heard that you can't dance, you don't dance, right? If you hear that your feet look like your toes look like fingers and they don't, but now you don't want to wear sandals. All you do is wear tennis shoes. You don't never wear the prettiest sandals. You get anxiety. Think about those influence moments that occurred in your life because of how people have spoken to you. And now you speak that way to yourself. What made you believe it was okay to talk to yourself that way? Was it because you saw everybody else talk to their kids that way? Was it because somebody else mama acted that way? Remember, like I said, if everybody around you is they're a reflection of you. So that's what keeps people doing the same thing and treating each other the same way, because like-minded people hang with like-minded people. So if you talk down to yourself, guess who talking down to themselves? If the neighbor is your neighbor and y'all good friends, that means they talk down to themselves. And everybody keeps each other in this family structure with this negative self-talk and the over emotional barrenness in your heart. And now everybody thinks this is how the world works until you step outside, get educated. You opened up a book, or a situation happens with somebody that's not a part of your community, and they're telling you, well, we don't appreciate this type of talk, and we don't appreciate this type of showing up. It's different over here. And if you want to be over here, you better raise your consciousness, your self-awareness, or change your pattern or behavior. We are seeing this every day, right? So we have to make sure that we are showing up in the way that we want to be respected and how we want to be. And those that can't respect us ain't our people. And knowing that that's okay. Now that you can expect from yourself, that I don't like that. Now, you may like that, but I don't. The expectation has to be from them and back on to you. And that's how you shift the narrative moving forward. So use this journal prompt. Even after this course, I want y'all to be able to still pull back these journal prompts and use them. Every time you release, every time you heal, opens up a new version of you that's ready to be healed now too, because you're learning the tools, right? These journal prompts, these questions, these lists can be applied all over again depending on who's up to bat, right? Use these journal prompts anytime you need to in order to combat, even if it's something you're still working on or something new. There's no right or wrong way or race to brush past or push yourself into a place where you expect more from yourself. You ain't never been this before. You've never been here before. That love, that compassion, that truth, give that to you. And you know how to give it. You're giving it to everybody else. Just turn the direction now to you to receive it from you. Right? Allow yourself to be in that space. Allow yourself to. All right, I'm going to go in the chat while y'all working on this particular journal prompt, and I'm going to start asking or making statements based on what I see in the chat. I'm glad that you were able to, for that. I think I know which question, like what am I going out of my way for, or what's my expectation? Why am I still pouring? Come on now. Why? Yes. So I believe that this is A. Marie. She said, I recognize people don't demonstrate love the way I do, and I have to love me that way first. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It starts with you first. Even if you were treated poorly growing up, I know you want somebody to pay for that. It's very hard to make people pay for it when they're disassociated and they don't care about what's happening to them, obviously, because they couldn't care about what was happening to you, right? That is what we know. The responsibility falls on your shoulders to bring yourself clarity and healing. But in order to do so, you have to be truthful, you have to be compassionate, and you also have to be loving towards yourself, because you cannot fight what you've been given with the same thing that was given to you. You have to try something new. That is called perspective. That is called being open to learning something new. And this is why I will always be an advocate for allowing your heart and your mind to finally align in a partnership, that they can work together so that you wouldn't fall into a space of always overpouring. Like Miss Candace said, overpouring. Why am I overpouring? You know, we overpour because that is what we thought we needed to do in order to receive love from those that cared for us. And the more we poured, the more we expected that they would do and see us. And when they did see us, because we overshared, overpoured, what they gave wasn't enough to replenish our cups. You just find yourself digging even more and saying, you know what, I got capacity to dig and keep pouring from what I find when I dig. But you get tired when you dig, don't you? Don't you get tired from digging, thinking, being the solution oriented one, the one that's always figuring out how to calm down just enough in the destruction and find a way to bring everybody together. But then when everybody get together, they're not appreciative, they're not grateful. There's more of an expectation of you. But here comes that ego. Well, 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 I. You know, all these things keep us in this loop of who gonna pour, who not gonna pour. Well, you poured and I poured, and now you're just in a shouting match with people that are all dysregulated and disassociated and triggered. Some are overly passive; they just shut down, get quiet, go within, and you can never find them again. And then you got the ones that are brute with it and very, 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 very verbal and very outlandish with their antics of showing you that you will not hurt that child within me that I've built these walls for, and these tones for, and these words for. And you just watch people do the most heinous, stupidest things to protect that child. They get in trouble, they go to jail, they commit murder. They are very, 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 very provocative and provoking with their antics of protecting that child. And so we have two different types of people that we deal with when we're all are looking for expectations from them, right? So when we're answering these questions, baby, pull that list out. Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, these lists, they big. They will have us. They will have us together. Girl, look, you have me just go off script. Hey, Marie. She said, I dug with my mom until the very end. That is a hard way to learn that titles don't always come with capacity. Baby, especially, let me get myself together real quick, because that wasn't a trigger, but baby, that was confirmation. Confirmation. Some of us feel like we got to be there to the very end with the same people that could never be there for us. And you thought that you being there meant that you was going to get a big reward. Shit. That was they expecting you. And I don't mean to laugh in a way like condescending and saying you a fool. I'm saying I got to laugh so I don't cry and wild out and crash out around here. with the audacity of how certain people, with the authority of their label in your life, will have you sitting there pouring into them at every trickle of what you got and still not give you what it is that you're asking for. Some know that they know what you want, but they won't give it to you because they can't give it to themselves, and they're not giving it to you because they can't give it to themselves. Do you know how selfish you gotta be to know that you have something that you ain't giving to yourself, but you got somebody hanging on here expecting that very thing from you? And we all sitting here, well, that's my mama, that's my daddy, that's my sister, that's my man, that's my best friend. History and labels got us in this country, in our communities, and in our own lives crashing out. What's that saying that they have? You when you lose somebody, where they say when a good person turns bad, you've lost them for good. Now I don't always believe that you lost them for good, but I also believe that you just don't have no access to them, because the goal is not for you to turn into the person that abused you. You want to turn into a person that has respect and boundaries, that won't have other people like said person do the same thing to you. We have to look at things in a growth mindset, not in a negative mindset, but a growth one. Okay. Yeah, come on now. I think that was Jay-Z. But see, he was out there cheating, right? You got a good woman, you just cheating, taking her for granted. Come on, of course she gonna go out there and start saying, well, maybe that's what I need to do with my body. But that's neither here nor there. But like I said, these negative self-talks, they begin here in these 8 places. Yes, Miss Angela, you got the mic.
Hi, Erica. Hi, everyone. I just wanted
Hey.
to share this because I was caught up in this for a while, um, where it says scripturally we are to honor our mother and our father. And, I've already talked about my father from the very first session. But what freed me was when I learned that fathers are not to aspirate their children. It's just not one sided here. They have a responsibility too. And some fathers are very good at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where forgiveness comes. That's where you got to look at yourself, look at them, but forgiveness helps too. But I got caught up in letting a lot of things pass, letting a lot of things go with him, and all under the guise or the commandment to honor him and to be respectful. And then I was freed when, I kept on reading. Well, he is not supposed to do these things to me. So he has accountability too. It's not a one-way street. So I just wanted to
Okay. Oh, y'all touching me today. Ah, 'cause that's another one I can align myself with. Baby, don't we love a good church pusher? Oh, scripture this, scripture that, riddle me this, riddle me that. No accountability for me, only for you. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Come on. Y'all not ready for that workshop of critical thinking within all the different dynamics of the system that is created to help keep us in place. The Most High, the only one God created the universe, is real. For some people, it's not, but that's another story. That's a whole nother workshop, too. We can make a lot of workshops out of some stuff. But what happens when you really do believe in the Most High, but others who also believe in the Most High don't take in accountability on how to treat the Most High's children? But they sure up and down that they got favor with the Most High. I don't understand that. How that it can only work for you in a hierarchy place, but for me, I just have no grace from the Most High, because I got you as a parent, or as a girlfriend, as a boyfriend, as a sibling, as a pastor, as a worker, as a employer. But you get to walk around like this hurting people, but you go to church and read your Bible and still conflicted with the pain that you have within inside you, that the very people that the Most High has given you, you can't even treat with the loving eyes that the Most High said you need to. But I ain't even gonna hold y'all. Critical thinking. You ever notice with these very same people that stay in the scripture, critical thinking is a demonic, accountability is demonic, seeing, hearing, knowing because of how you move with the patterns I can see all of a sudden is demonic. Every single thing is, if it ain't me controlling it so I can get my way with the most high backing me, and you ain't moving the way you supposed to move, that makes me feel good, that I can expect, you unruly. You ain't honoring me. The Bible said you should honor me, but they always miss the other part where you should not be what with your children. Yes, A, you got the floor.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you now. You got it.
Okay, I was gonna finish your statement, which is the other part of that was parents don't provoke your kids to wrath. Right, that's what the Bible says. So I'm a church kid, right? I grew up with a preacher dad. My mom was married to a preacher. My godfather's a preacher. My mom was married to a preacher for a certain amount of time. And a lot of our family structure is the way in which you've never had to address any of the issues is that you put it under these things of honoring. Honoring says that I speak highly of you. It does not mean that I do not hold you accountable for what you have done to me. And what I think the most freeing part about it was I accepted that the two things can exist at the same time. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing but admiration for my mother and who she became as a woman. Because she was a woman before she was my mother. She was a woman long after I was a grown adult and a woman myself. I can hold two things and they both be true. That during the season and time when she was my mother had me at 12 years old. She was not a very good mom to me. She did not have the skills and the capability to be a good mom at 12 years old. And no matter how much you say that, my mother could never admit that. It was too close to her identity. The pain that she carried about it was too deep for her to ever be able to articulate and say, hey, I didn't do such a great job with raising you. I realized very early that if I, as a mother, had to admit that I didn't do a good job of raising my kids, it would destroy me on the inside. And destroying her would never be my goal because she was my mom. So I had to accept she doesn't literally have capacity, even at the end of her life, to be able to really honestly say, hey, I didn't give you what you needed. Now, she tried to do the best she could. And when she left here, my mother left me everything, which I didn't expect, right? She treated me really bad in life, right? So I didn't expect to get anything, and I didn't live my life expecting anything from her. But accepting that two things can be true at the same time means that I don't villainize her. I now understand her pain, where it came from, why every time I say right now, I understand I was her princess. My nickname is Princess, but I got on that lady nerves. You are so headstrong. You got your own thoughts and your own opinions, and you don't conform to none of the rules. You say whatever you want to say. You do whatever you want to do in a way, not in a bad way, because I'm a good person, but I couldn't be controlled. And in the end, I was the villain because I would not let you control me. My mom had breast cancer, chose not to get no treatment. And at some point I left her right there in that mess because you're not gonna drown me another time. I'm still coughing up water from the last antics that you put on about this. I'm not gonna do this. And if I have to sit this one out, I stand on my own moral values and convictions. And my mother left this world knowing that no matter what it was that came up against me, I was gonna stand on my square. As a parent, I feel like that's the best thing that you can learn. And I feel like she left this world knowing that no matter what it was, when nobody else gonna ever be able to manipulate her daughter like that again. I take that as peace.
Okay. Hold on, A. I'm gonna give you the floor again because I want to ask you something after I make this point. You said a few things and I wrote it down. Contradictions. You guys are in the season now where you guys are going to see contradictions because there are spectrums of feelings. You can go to the extremes on both sides. You got lows, you got highs, and then there's in the middle. That's the balance, right? Two things can be true. Just like she said. Your mother, your people can really do love you. They just don't know how to love you. And that ego that I mentioned earlier, now being brought up with A now, I want y'all to hold this. Everybody's ego, even Miss Angela with your father, his ego, his pride, his identity meant more to him than your feelings. And those people are willing to go to the grave without giving you any satisfaction of breaking that ego, that intellect of what they have, of who they are. This is why so many of us have dealt with going to all the ways of the ends of the earth to the last breath of a parent, waiting for something, and they don't give it to you because their identity is wrapped up in that. I did the best I could, even though they whooped you, they abused you, or even if they didn't, somebody you loved or couldn't love you in that relationship. It don't matter. They feel in their heart they gave you the best they got. And every time you say that what they got or how you show up for yourself, it triggers them to know that what they were giving you or what they're giving you is not enough. Baby, that's where that towards you come from. That I can't stand you. You just like your daddy. I can't stand your mouth. No, you can't stand the fact that I can actually be what you were afraid to be. Don't use your mouth to put me down. Use your mouth to create a way for us to be open and to grow. Don't be fearful of the unknown, that being nice and vulnerable is okay. That you made a mistake because you didn't know that the way you were being mothered trickled down with how you mothered or fathered or shown up as a friend, a lover, a worker. The accountability also requires humility, humbleness. Now, don't be so humble that you let everybody walk over you, because now that's still ego too. I'm so humble, I just let everybody do, and it don't faze me. Yes, it does. There's a balance and order that the Most High calls from each and every one of us. We are divine beings. And to be treated in any other way, it's just negligence on the divine. The identity and the ego, the pride, baby, like I said, I'd rather let you go hungry during one of the biggest holidays of the year because I'm not getting my way. I'd rather tell you you ain't it as my daughter because you triggered me with your provocativeness to stand up for yourself and in your beauty and your right when I didn't have that when I was growing up. So I'm going to on you and tell you need to do them dishes and get up in here and clean a house instead of talking about your accomplishment on being on the honor roll. Think about what I'm saying. We are triggered left and right. Our parents were triggered left and right. Every time you smiled, how dare you smile up in my house when I'm working all day? Ain't nobody tell you that. Have me. And we're just able to say them words now. We couldn't say that about 2 decades ago. I'm just going to keep it real. But hear what I'm saying. You know, I'm smiling. I'm laughing. But for a lot of us, we ain't smiling about this stuff because we're still healing through this stuff. But there's an inner understanding we have when we accept that everybody got a story to tell. But it doesn't mean that I got to take your shit because you went through some bad shit. And I'm just a buck. Our parents, they did the best they could, but they could have done better if they would have kept their minds open and actually did what the divine said in the Bible. Always be a student. You forgot that part. If I got to be a student at your feet because you are the parent, who are you being a student to then? Because once you feel like you a teacher and nobody can tell you nothing, now you're going to leave me and everybody that's behind you or in front of you to be led by you down to some places that we should not be. And now you talking about your whole legacy of the remembrance of you while you're gone, not being in the light that you so vividly, verbally, right? Physically fought for. You're not going to be remembered in the light that you so tried to protect. We're going to remember you exactly how we felt you. Think about that. Now, when we talk about our parents as adults, it ain't in the way that they tried to stop us. They couldn't handle us then and they can't handle us now. And they never could. They don't have the capacity to. Now, blessings on a lot of the parents that are trying to find a way because now they got grandkids and now they're recognizing through the relationship of not being triggered a lot, not having to bust their ass to get up to go to work to make a living. Listen to what I'm saying. And now they have the ability to be a parent for the first time with their grandbabies, but that triggers us. Because where was this when I needed that? You didn't try hard enough. Your hardness, your 2% was not enough because look at me now. And that can create resentment, jealousy, comparison spirit. And now you can turn around and do what now to your grandbaby or to your child, I should say. Start jealousing your child, thinking your child got something or doing something that got your mama or daddy to do that. Now the cycle starts all over again because it was never about that. It was that this type of feeling is within the family line. And who's going to be the first person? Here come that generational curse breaker stuff, but it's just really patterns, mindset. Who's going to be the first person to face this part of an idea or a perspective or a habit that is in the family that we call tradition or it's always been this way and say, you know what? We don't want this. We need to change this and adjust it to the time. Right? So, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And that leads me down to our next journal prompt. Write down a recent negative thought you had about yourself, and rewrite that thought as an empowering and positive affirmation, because that ties into what I just said when I said, when a perspective in your family, an expressive or a habit or a physical way of doing something is outdated or was never supposed to be there. Who's going to have the courage to change it in a way from a negative thought to an empowering type of reframe? How do you reframe it? How do you change it? And I'm going to be honest. I shared my story last weekend with y'all. Sometimes you got to remove yourself because the new babies that are the branch of this family tree, they're going to need this. And they can't take the selfishness and the stubbornness and the pride and the identity, that people are willing to kill for with you. So you're going to have to cut it in order for this new perspective to grow within the family. This is why you're hearing everybody. I mean, it says it in the Bible too. You got, when you leave your family and you get married, what? You're creating a new family. But what happens when the family of the mom, the dad, the sisters, the friends, and everybody is so dependent on your light and your energy? And because you believe in family, now you're overpouring. Now this family that the Most High has given you, you can't even pour into because you're carrying the weight of everybody else's journey. At what point do you start being the grown woman, right? And actually listening to what the Most High says, regardless if the interpretation of your mother, the pastor, and everybody else is wrong. Or maybe it isn't wrong. Maybe their understanding is only at 2%, but the Most High could get to you because your capacity is 8%. And now it's on you. A lot of us right now in this classroom that we doing call life, we don't have our parents with us now. They may be physically still here or they may have moved on, right? Transitioned. But we don't have them to participate with the new stuff because they are stuck in their ways. And that can't be a byproduct of why you get stuck in your ways. Nobody decided that for you. You did. And whatever the expectation built off fear is that got you feeling like you got to sit still and wait for them to finally come to, which they don't or never will until they're ready. You have to decide why you decided that the way they show up in life is your way. Oh, because you didn't want to be disrespectful. That's scripture, bringing it back again from Miss Angela. Tying it into tying it in with you, Miss S. Shit, tying it in with myself. Everybody. We cannot worry about what others did not do when the calling came from within the house, especially if it's the Most High on the other side calling and ringing that line. And you hear that call and you don't pick up that phone and you don't start taking that notepad and that pen and writing down an instruction that you're downloading from what you see, hear, and feel when it comes through because of your 8% capacity, you're going to suffer more because they done numbed up that 2%. But you got 8% of numbing to do. That's a whole lot of disconnection you got to get through. A lot of self-betrayal and disappointment that you got to go through versus that 2%. This is why when you hear people or the elders or the spiritualists or anybody, a pastor say, well, it's at your door. The calling is at your door because you're the one that can hear it. And every time you don't pick up that phone and follow the instructions and follow through, you will suffer because you're not trusting the divine, you're trusting man. And that's what happened to a lot of our parents with the Bible. They read it, but they got what they needed to weaponize. And sometimes they don't know they weaponize it. They just using it the way that it was given to them through the interpretation of somebody else that gave them the introduction of said Bible in religion. But I do believe you do need the Most High. You do. You really do. Because there's stuff going on out here. It's stuff with people going on. And that don't sound like they got it together. So you're going to have to go back to the original creator and figure out what we were supposed to do here, how we were supposed to treat each other, and how we supposed to move. And just because they didn't have it, don't mean that when that call is coming through to you, don't mean that you don't know it's supposed to be answered the way that he wants you to. You better do what it's supposed to do because you will suffer. You will. So when you think about what it is you're here to do, you are here to rewrite the way the rules and the structure of the family is through you and what comes out of you. Who's next to you? Who's calling you? Every one of you are a teacher. Every time somebody ring your line and ask you, girl, I need your point of view. You're a teacher. But what as a student, what did you learn so that you could be the teacher? Hence, parent and child relationship. They are our teachers. They are our guardians. They are our protectors. And if they ain't got no protection around themselves, they ain't got to protect. They can't emotionally regulate themselves. Guess who can emotionally regulate themselves? But a lot of the times, you get women like us that come through the bloodline as little girls. And we see our mamas. We ain't going to worry about the daddies right now. We're going to concentrate on the mamas. And we emulate what they're telling us we should be, but then we start recognizing that the divine, the call that's within us is saying that ain't scripture. That ain't how we supposed to be living, mama. And every time you talk, every time you be, every time you smile, every time you enjoy, there they come, clamping down on your self-esteem, dimming your light. And sometimes it's not even your mama. Your mama is in the same boat as you. It could be her mama running you, her, the husband for your mama. You understand what I'm saying? Because everybody honoring the elders. Everybody honoring the titles. Everybody honoring the people that either shut down completely and go within themselves or the ones that burst out completely. So when we're talking about these negative self-thoughts and all that stuff, we got to think about where that stuff come from. And it's okay to say, Mama, I'm going to dissect your whole entire being. It's okay to say, Daddy, I'm going to dissect and call you on your entire being. It's not that I'm trying to be mean, but this is facts. And just because you don't want to hear it don't mean it ain't true. Because you want to protect what little bit of pride and identity you got. Pride should come before the fall, don't it? Pride. Pride. So take this tactic with this journal prompt and anything that you think about that's negative, that you speak to yourself, rewire that now for your mind. Your conscious mind got to start hearing you speak love, not lack. So that the subconscious mind can start saying, wait a minute. If she says she loves herself, maybe I shouldn't be scared for her to love herself in these new ways that I haven't seen her do it because of X, Y, and Z's way of what love is or what we were taught that got me trying to protect you. Your subconscious mind to you. Influences. You don't always know what that looks like until you're triggered. Oh, I'm not good enough for this man. I'm not good enough for this relationship. Oh man, my outfit don't match everybody else's. What? What? How we grown, but fearful at the same time? You know, we say we this, we say we that, and we also have to be careful with what we're, saying outside ourselves, because that's, remember, if you ain't answering the call, even though you can hear it, it's a great way to show up is to show you exactly what you're not taking care of in real time when things out of your control start happening so chaotically and crazy because you decide you don't want to pick up the phone. Now you got to watch things fall apart in front of you and you got to panic now and sit down and say, okay, I'm going to pick up the call. What now? I'm trying to tell you, you ain't got to go down this hard road. But you're so busy worrying about mom, dad, honoring that we forget to honor the Most High and what his will is. We chasing everybody, but we ain't chasing ourselves. And when we don't chase ourselves, we're not sitting in tune with the Most High. But we sure do got a crazy, crazy way of calling on him when we are in big trouble. And then we just want him to drop everything and take care of us. When we think about this particular journal prompt that I have right here for us, y'all going to screenshot a lot of this. What negative thoughts, right, do I commonly have about myself? How can I reframe them into positive statements and create a safe word to anchor you into the present? Everybody always have a word for the new year. But I also believe that you should have a safe word from within yourself to yourself when you start thinking something that you shouldn't from the past, or you get triggered by somebody or something. What is your safe word? For me, it's anchor. It's for me to remember that I have to anchor myself right now in the present and not go back to anything that's trying to pull me back into a place that I just came from. And it's not in an upsetting way. It's in a loving, compassionate way. Like, baby, you don't have to go there. We ain't got time for that. Anchor, anchor, breathe, anchor. The way that you wanted your mama to speak to you, your daddy to speak to you, you don't have to turn that voice, that self-negative voice, turn it into a nurturing, loving voice. You got to be the mama. You got to be the daddy. You got to be the lover. You got to be the friend. You got to be your coworker, boss, all of that. Start talking to yourself in the way that you want to be spoken to, or what that child inside of you needs to hear, in order for them to let up and let you be the adult that you need to be for your journey. Because these children inside of us is running around crazy in every single thing in adult bodies and causing chaos. We don't even know when our different parts or versions of ourselves show up because we are so dysregulated. The minute somebody with a higher authority or a tone that sounds like our parents or the pastor or anybody that we were scared of speaking that energy or tone, it does something to us. We shrink. Then we don't speak up and ask for what it is we want, but then we allow them to take whatever they want from us. And they get so used to taking from you that when you finally speak up for yourself and insert that boundary that we've talked about, now here come that, I didn't raise you like that. How dare you speak to me like that? Do you know who you're speaking to? Oh, baby, that don't work here no more. You have no authority here. And then you see two things. Like I said, they either get passive, go within and shut down and give you the silent treatment and don't talk and blame you, or they blame you with outbursts and physical harm, cussing and throwing in tantrums. And we've all at one point encountered those type of energies that have us thinking exactly what we're talking about today. The negative self thoughts and how we speak to ourselves. So I made another list, another example for you that I want you guys to take in when you guys are doing this journal prompt. It says common negative thoughts about self. I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. I'm too emotional. I'm weak. These are not your words to you from the time you were born. Somebody you trusted and care about created these self-induced thoughts that you carry today. Start finding where they came from. Man, I know it's hard. I know it's tough. I know for some, I know for me, when I started really thinking about it, God, I cried. Baby, cry. Let it come out. When them tears and that anger, that frustration, that sadness, that grief starts coming up to the surface, let it out. Because this type of work requires accountability and you feeling it, understanding it, reshaping it, and loving it. That's the only way you're going to be able to heal this, and changing the way you speak. You have to become the very same person for yourself that you expected from everybody else, because you have the ability to do it for self. You just have to build up the capacity now to give it to self. You're so used, you got capacity to give to others. Now you have to learn the capacity and how to give it to yourself. You got to take it and turn it inward now. And you're going to have to be okay and lovingly do it. We self-sabotage because of how we speak to ourselves from somebody else's point of view. And we self-sabotage because we don't know the capacity and the energy that it takes to do what we're asking for others to do. You are not a fuck up. You are not an issue or a problem. You are not a burden. And you were never the problem. You're here because you have a divine purpose here. And your purpose isn't to go out and make $1 million, which you can. Your purpose isn't to have children and to be somebody's other half. All these things is part of the experience. But all the divine ever asked you to do was love yourself and love thy neighbor. All of this, just to get back to that one concept, to love thyself and love thy neighbor. Love yourself and love thy neighbor. But yet we're running around crazy doing everything and all the things except that part. And when you start loving yourself and knowing how to love thy neighbor, you understand that all these things that are given to you are distractions. They keep you tired, they keep you run down, and they keep you in a place of working. And if you're working, you're tired, you're overstimulated, when can you pour into yourself? That's why you want others to pour into you, because you're pouring into a something. You're pouring into your job, you're pouring into others, you're pouring into your hobbies, but nobody's pouring into you. If you would change the outside projection to inside reflection, then you can create that love. And you will understand that it wasn't a creating of love. It was just tapping into the source of love. But first we gotta remove the negative self-talk. We gotta remove the expectations that we have on others. We have to remove the punishing spirit that we've created from others to ourselves. We gotta remove all the distractions and all the things that look good, all the temptations, you call it whatever you want. Now they saying, oh, we ain't got to be in the club because now we 40 and 50, but they found another way to grab our money through rooftop parties and brunches, right? They gonna find us to get us out so we could be outside ourselves and doing all the things, but not doing the inside things. We have to be very careful on what spirit is asking us to do right now. And as a woman, you want time and connection to self right now. So it may be turning down a brunch invitation. It might not look like the club, but the brunch is still being around other people and doing other things instead of the self work. It's just another place for people to gather and not do the work, right? We have to sit still and be critical thinkers and check the ego, check our identity, what we've attached to our identity. We have to figure out what kind of person we want to be down here now that we're waking up to our true and beautiful energy self. All these things we have to start thinking about now as we navigate the journey. But it's going to require what? Love, compassion, and you speaking your truth. But then there's also truths that you don't speak because you're not aware of it yet. And those truths you have to be able to be open to bring in to help navigate this new place that you're in with yourself. It ain't just your truth out here. There's other truths out here beside you. And that's the part that you're screaming and crying and don't want to be open to. That's the part where everybody be like, you got to accept. Maybe that's what you got to accept. To get to the healing, that's what you got to accept. That there's other people out here that got truths too. And we're going to have to be okay with you got a truth, I got a truth, but they don't align. And I'm going to go take my truth somewhere and you take your truth somewhere. But if we want this to work, then we got to compromise. And this is only going to work if I'm met in XYZ and if I respect your X, Y, and Z. Now you in control now. But we have to have an open road of communication and openness. If we're going to have relationships with people, with parents, siblings, spouses, children, anybody, we have to be able to have some type of respect and integrity for ourselves that everybody else can see and feel when we walk through the door. That humbleness, meek stuff, throw it out. We are not in that world right now. This is not what it requires. What it requires right now is you being very strong and protective of your energy and knowing what you need for that energy. If it requires sleep, then ain't no brunch and rooftop activities. If it requires you to turn off the line dancing and all that stuff, but doing somatic yoga and moving your body because you got to move the stagnant energy that's been sitting here for years. This emotion that's can't come out in tears, but it can only be moved out of the body. Then you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to be the mother, the father, and everything you scream and ask everybody for. You're going to have to do it. The negative self-talk, I don't know, I can't, I won't, I'm not the person. That's the voice you have to change now. How do you change that voice into I am going to be my protector. I'm going to be my own mother and father. I'm going to be my own best friend. I'm going to be everything I've always asked everybody else to be. I'm going to do that for me. Even though you may still be in a relationship, you may have all your kids around you. You may have all your uncles, everybody around you. But how can you still say that to yourself and have that be the bottom line, your strength, your foundation for you, and do what you need to do? How do you do that? It still has to be done with all those things around you. You are in a place right now that requires you to stop asking everybody else and expecting everybody else to do the very thing that you need to do for yourself. You need to do it for yourself. If you're asking people to show up, you're asking people to think about you, you're asking people to consider it, you're asking people to buy, you're asking people to do it yourself. And start looking at yourself when you're doing those things for yourself. Do you have disgust with yourself? Are you disconnected from yourself? Do you don't believe you deserve it? These are the negative self-talking thoughts that I'm talking about. Why? Start asking yourself why. We have a lot of great work ahead of us, but we have a great time too that's getting ready to come upon us as we continue to be open. Yes, work. It's some emotional work. It's going to be some physical work. But the abundance and the blessings that you get in return with loving yourself and being there for yourself, you won't go back. You won't go back. And now that $1 million that I just talked about earlier, you baby, it's possible. It's possible for all of y'all to get $1 million right now. Y'all be like, no, I don't know. I'm gonna do that. I'm 50 or that ain't me. Oh, you can make it happen. There's people becoming millionaires every day. You know why? Because they believe in themselves. They find something. They find a purpose. They line up with the divine. They answered the call and took notes and followed. But it wasn't because you overworked the other person. It wasn't because you did more than the other person. It's a belief. And it's your belief in yourself. It's your daily habits to conserve the calmness in your energy. It's making sure the relationships that are fruitful, not just for the benefit of you, but also the benefit of them. Those is what you're putting at the forefront. You knowing what doesn't serve you, what isn't serving you, and how to make sure you put them in the right categories because you're showing the divine that you have capacity. All he wants to see is that you have capacity. Or are you going to still keep going to everybody else that he's also trying to give them a call to see if they'll take care of that capacity for you? And that's the vision and the point of view we don't have. We so I. We don't think about we as a collective. Do you hear that call? Do you hear that call? Why you ain't answering the call? Or you see somebody that know there's a call coming in from inside of themselves, but they avoid it. Now you watching somebody that avoids things not only in the inside, but in the real time. And that's why they can't love you. They got an avoidant issue. You do too. That's accountability. A lot of us haven't even reached the epitome of what it feels like to hold yourself so accountable that you recognize that whatever somebody did to you, you've been doing it to you too. And there is no bigger breakdown. And I'm gonna tell you right now, because I break down. And I've had one big breakdown this year when it finally clicked. Everything that I've been telling everybody has done to me, you do it to yourself. And until you accept that you are your biggest betrayer, you don't protect yourself, you don't love yourself the way you think you love yourself, then growth will start happening. Because it ain't about them not answering the call. We're putting it back on you answering the call from within. All right? Somebody said, Alex says, show up and show out. Yeah, you're going to have to show up and show out right now. Because life still needs to be lived. Even with all this information and all these things your guys are unpacking, you still got a life to live. So if you do need to go get that brunch, okay, go get that brunch. But what did you do to make sure you connect with yourself to do what you needed to do to get to that brunch? You're going to have to start making sure that you even out the scales for yourself. Don't neglect yourself so you can be outside with everybody and everything. Because if you ask me, me and my husband just talked about this, and I'm going to bring this in. And I know when he edits this and he hears me, he's going to be like, you bringing our stuff into the shop? I thought you were just going to keep, baby, hear me out. Me and my husband talked about this. At one point in time, going to McDonald's was a treat. At one point in time, having somebody else cook your meal was a rest day. What happens now when we open up our eyes and see that we've turned convenience into everyday rewards that are expensive now? Everybody cooking your food, everybody making your coffee, your teas. Everything you do for yourself is outside work and paying for somebody else to do it. And because now they've taken all your energy and your skills, time for you to learn how to do these things for yourself, and you've been outsourcing it. Now you don't even have the energy or the bandwidth or the knowing on how to do these things for yourself. Because somebody told you if you use your energy to work and pay for exchange for those services to be done, doesn't that keep you in the same loop of chasing? And so you don't have enough time to do the things that you want to do and need to do, like sleep, rest, love on yourself, love on those around you that's loving into you too as well. When you reflect, you're going to start seeing every way you've leaked your energy to everybody and everything. And you have to figure out how to bring it back in. Where you hear people say you got to call all your power back. Oh, you got to call it all back in. And it's going to hold you accountable. Cooking your meals, controlling the salt in your meals, making sure you're drinking enough water every day, making sure that you're going to your doctor appointments, making sure that you're doing all the right things. Ain't nobody here to save you. And y'all get so mad. And when I say y'all, I mean society. When whatever you put your trust in to hold you, don't do what you expected. Now you mad. I gave you. You're getting mad at somebody that you've given your power to. Come on now. Come on now. Y'all just at the surface right now, Candace wrote, and made us work constantly to get these conveniences and underpay us. I'm going to tell you right now, just keep working on building you up. All this other stuff with the world, resources, your neighbors, races, that'll come too, because it's going to come. But right now, I just need y'all to work on your capacity for loving yourself. Because when you can love yourself, you can have capacity to understand how others love themselves. But right now, I don't even want y'all worrying about that. I just want y'all to see how you being disconnected creates conveniences for your money to be spent out somewhere else, instead of you holding on to your money and doing more for self. Just take care of yourself right now. But we're going to break all that down. We're going to break all that down. What did I tell y'all? Threes. You got shame, guilt, and fear. You got love, compassion, and truth. Right? You got morning. You got the middle of the day, and then you got nighttime. Start looking at things in threes. It's a system, right? And how that looks from your rise and set, what you do, what you give your attention to, how you move, how you feel, how you look, what you giving your energy to, your attention to, all those things is going to play a part of how your energy is being put out into the world and how the energy is coming back into your world. And what we're recognizing the most is that our energy for loving self is not here because we've been pouring that love into everybody else that only got 2% capacity. So now we got to take that, whatever we giving that 2%, we got to bring it back to us and we got to build up capacity. Okay. And now you'll have enough energy now to start looking around you to see where all the ways that you look for conveniences. And then start asking the question, why do I need this convenience? Why do I need somebody else to do this for me? Why do I need somebody else? I'm going to just say it right now. I just ordered my garden book because I'm getting ready to start gardening. I'm ready to put my hand in some soil. I'm ready to grow my own herbs for my teas because I built enough reservoir of time for me between my shop now, how it's being ran, where my mind is in a positive way now. And now I can make time for the things that matter to me. I got to eat every day. I can't depend on this stuff that I'm hearing. People say it's conspiracy theories. Y'all can take what's conspiracy. You may not take what's conspiracy, but you got to feel it out. If you're playing with my food and I need food to live, why would I leave that convenience up to you? Let me figure out in my day how to be a steward for what I need. What do I need to do? I need to learn. I need to be a student, just not a teacher. I'm a student. Let me learn. Y'all got Chat GPT. Start learning some things. Start learning some trades. Learn how to make some bread, how to make some good teas, how to learn how to make things happen for yourself. Bring your money, your wealth, and all your power back to yourself. Stop being dependent on everybody else to do everything for you. That's why we're here in the first place on this workshop. My husband said it yesterday. Man, if we would just do the right things and teach people to be sufficient and how to heal themselves, we wouldn't need to do all this sitting down. We wouldn't need to be here for an hour and a half doing this. Girl, we could have been on this Zoom talking about, girl, how you get your potato to get so big organically. What kind of water? Think about what I'm saying. There's so many different ways for us to be learning how to do things to prosper. But first, we got to dig ourselves out of this disconnection that we've been given. And until we connect again, then things can start prospering. So the first thing you need to work on now, as you all leave this workshop and go into the world, what is your mindset like to you? When somebody triggers you, how do you start talking to yourself? How do you allow others to still talk to you? Does it match the way you speak to yourself and you're okay with it because you don't know no better? But something in you is saying, I don't like this. Do you listen and honor the child within you or the woman in you that's saying, I don't like this? Or are you acting the way your mother did, your father did, your guiders did, and they ignored you? Now, Candace, now you talk it. And I want to make sure that I continue to do the work and connect with people and create these safe spaces that we need because we're going to need it. I've been thinking about all day or every day since the SNAP thing has happened. I don't need SNAP, but I know a lot of people that need it, especially in Cali. I'm trying to figure out ways like, where are our farmers at? I got to go find out where our farmers at in California now that's close by. I got to figure out where eggs and chickens are. I got to find out all these things because I want to know where our food is coming from or where we can have access when things go crazy here in the markets. If people start stealing or people get desperate, and you best believe, yeah, you damn right. If I'm in there shopping because I got it and somebody's stealing, I am turning a blind eye. I am, because remember, two things can be right. People are starving, right? But also people are acting like they don't have the resources to help people not starve, right? But how else can I help those that don't want to steal, don't know how to steal, but they need a safe place to go get their food? Education, compassion, love and truth. This is not a selfish walk. This is a community walk that we're building. That's why I said don't race to this finish line, because there ain't no finish line, baby. Because right when you get through something, something else will come to you because your capacity has grown. So focus on you right now, though. And while focusing on yourself, still be open to an experience of being part of community. But just be aware, be vigilant, and be kind, not nice. Be kind. Because, see, niceness gets you walked over, kindness gets you respect. And this goes for everybody. You have a relationship with your husband, your other half, your children, your friends, your workers, your co-workers, your boss, or if you're the boss. Any type of relationship we have with anybody. When you take care of yourself, you bless those relationships. Okay? Screenshot this to take this in with you guys as well. We are a little bit over time, but I know this is our last workshop, and I just really, really wanted to build with y'all with this self-talk and self-thoughts. And to be honest, I feel like I've done a lot of these workshops. I've talked in a lot of big places with a lot of people, hundreds and hundreds of women, but I don't think I've ever spoken to a group of women in the capacity that I have today. And it's something special about being here with you guys today. Oh, I'm not going to cry. But I've had so much growth here with you guys. I've learned to open up my heart here with you guys. I've learned to trust my knowing and the information that I'm developing each and every day with you guys. I've been able to make sure that I'm on my P's and Q's and practicing what I'm speaking every day and sharing with you guys in this space. I've been able to allow myself to face myself in ways that I never have in this space with you guys. So I really am learning when the Most High says that it's not about quantity, it's about quality. I feel deeply, I've always have as a child, but like you guys said, when we grow up in places with our guardians, our parents, or whoever is in charge of our lives from such a little place, we take on and adapt their way of seeing the world. And if we're seers and we're truth tellers and we're able to see things from a perspective that we are just divinely gifted with, for somebody that doesn't want to be seen, heard, or felt, that's where the pain comes from. That's where the disconnection comes from. Like A. Marie said, because I am who I am and you can't control me, that triggers you and makes you treat me the way you do, which makes me feel like you don't love me. And so when I call you on it, you don't know how to deal with that because you don't know how to be real or be honest with what you're feeling towards me because of how you feel towards yourself. All this stuff is interconnected. And every single day that you rest your body, your mind, and your spirit, that means you have an advantage over a lot of the people in your life. If they just going, and they never stop to rest and to reflect. The advantage you have when you reflect and you rest means that you can see, hear, and feel things in real times and be able to be in a prepared state physically and mentally to combat it. And so when we think about people right now in real time with this political system where they don't have food because there's two opposing forces trying to create one outcome, which is just mass control. If you catch my drift, we get people that aren't able to recognize that they're not in the present. They're not able to do what they need to do because they're disconnected. Those are the people we're saying that when they see that they don't have their money there for food, those are the ones that we got to catch. Those are the ones that we got to take care of. And that means the babies, the elders, the disabled, right? The mentally ill, right? The ones that are in depression, the ones that are sick. Where's the compassion and the love and the truth in that? So it was always about you getting connected back to self so that we can have more of us to see what's going on around here. And I want you to know, not everybody living like what's being shown on the internet. It's community building and working together. Don't believe everything that's coming through your screen. That algorithm is set up to be fear mongering and then set up with something to make you laugh and be desensitized. It's people getting up. People are banding together. Look about what's going on in your community. Make sure that you know where everything is in case you need it. You're present now. You're getting more focus on you now. And you're seeing how this world is shaping up to allow you to be here now. It's time to work. It's time to build. And it's time to get back into connecting. Okay? I don't have much. I don't have homework for you guys other than what I have right here that I need you guys to grab. But this is it from here. Just think about anytime you think negatively, replace that thought. That's all I have for you for the rest of your journey until we see each other again. Just keep doing the work. Replay videos as much as you need to. Find books that speak to you and your mindset. If you feel like you can have difficult conversations with your family, do that. If you feel like there's things or you're in your way and your mind is so strong and stronger than everybody else around you, go get you a therapist. Get you a therapist that's in alignment with the family structure that you have so that they can help you learn how to navigate that family structure and mindset. You are your proactive person now. You are your point of contact. You are your power of attorney right now. You are. I fought this for so long that I needed other people to do what I'm doing now, but it is on you to do you to get you where you want to be. I will never stop saying that. Nobody can get you here but you. And you're going to need your rest. You're going to need some good food. And you're going to need some time to get there. And allow yourself to surrender. I saw somebody say surrender. Yeah. And surrender and accept. It is, Candace. I hear you. Oh, it was Miss Angela. Thank you, Angela. Anybody want to share anything before we get up out of here? I know you guys got a day. I know we went over. We got 5 minutes. So thank you guys for sharing this space and letting me talk a little bit more. But do anybody want to share anything? Okay, let me see. How do I get up out of here? You're going to tell me now. I taught you how to get up out of here. Hold on, y'all. Okay, here we go. And I stop sharing. Anybody want to share anything before we get up out of here? Well, there
Thanks
it
for
is.
everything, E. I appreciate it. It was great. It was so perfect timing in my life. It gave me what I needed in order to get through the processing of what I was processing. It kind of it kind of steered me, like gave me direction and where to look and where to go. I was doing the work, but it gave me questions. It gave me things to ask myself to further my processing of it and sped it up in the timing that I needed in order for me to feel supported. So I'm thankful. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Anybody
Anybody
else?
else?
Erica is Angela. Girl, let me tell you, the Lord is just taking you from one degree of glory to the next. I'm for real because at first I always told you it was the forgiving yourself and it was how you came about it through your creativity with your stickers and now your workshops. I mean, you are just going from one degree of glory to the next, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad that I can witness it.
I accept that. Oh, I love you too. I love you guys too. Anybody else before we get up out of here? I know y'all got food to eat, things to do, but I know this is our last session for this workshop. So I just want to give everybody a chance on record so you can see yourself as a marker right now of you using your voice, speaking. Like, let this be a checkpoint for you to rewind back and say, I remember when I said this and now look at me. So come on, use this time, use it. Come on. Well, then there it is. There it is. I want to thank you guys for being here with me. I want to thank you guys for showing up and doing the work. Know that the replay is coming. Know that we are going to continue to do workshops. I'm getting ready to shut down everything and allow myself to be in a space of being present and getting more acclimated with this new space that I'm in and getting ready to teach different perspectives and different ways to stretch your mind or expand your mind so that you can be everything that you need yourself to be. Okay? I wish y'all nothing but beautiful holidays that are coming up. I know Halloween is right here, then Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and then all the Kwanzaa and everything. So happy holidays. Take care of yourself. Slow down and know that you don't have to do everything the way it used to be. We are in a new time, new space, and you got a new mindset. Do what your body and your nervous system requires you to do and for you to be present every day. God bless. I love you guys. See
Thank
y'all next
you.
time. Bye, you guys.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye, you
Bye.
See you
guys.
next year.
See
Yes.
you next year.
Yes. We got the vision board. I'm bringing it, but yes. Yes.
Bye.